How you guys feel about getting started tonight? You good to go?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, my friends, welcome to Ysterra, the Far Horizon, Red Moons, a Dungeons & Dragons Interlude. Our normal adventures are a bit on hiatus this week as we go back in time a little bit. Just a couple of days from anything that you might have seen previously. Hey, Dro coming in with the bits. Thank you so much, Dro. That looks like 500 bits. Since that was 500, I'm just going to give two advantages to Darling Group Show and one advantage to you, Boy Big, for that. Thanks, Dro. Stacy UK, you did pose a very good question about where this goes in the playlist. It absolutely goes in the playlist. Because although tonight's interlude adventure does backtrack, it is still canon. It is still taking place in everything else that we've been doing in our campaign. As we backtrack a couple of days from our previous adventures, some of you might know some of the craziness that had happened recently. But one of the most significant events that happened was one of our crew members aboard our airship, Mira, had inadvisably placed a hand on a particularly powerful crystalline rock formation that glowed with magic and felt powerful as if imbued with the might of the Ascendant. And in doing so, it damaged her in many ways. Her hand became practically useless, charred beyond belief. Pain that coursed through her sapped every ounce of life she had, just barely surviving the situation. Hi, Kit Kat. As she survived that, Wren, played tonight by our good friend Creep, had taken off into the night in search of some hooded figures that had been lingering around the rock formation for basically the entirety of the day. She had been watching these individuals from afar because whenever hooded figures get in your vicinity and seem to be interested in whatever you're doing, you probably should want to know what they're doing. And as the rest of the crew dealt with Mira, Wren had taken off in search of them. Wren, being the accomplished and skillful tracker that she is, unfortunately, was not able to latch onto her prey that night, something that frustrated her tremendously. It's not often that such prey gets away when Wren is on the hunt, but these ones, they wielded magic, powerful magic of shadow, that meant that she could not accomplish her goal. As troublesome as that was, it became apparent pretty quickly upon returning to the ship that Mira's damage was likely more permanent than anyone could hope. The following day was spent in relative leisure, comparatively speaking. No one wanted to leave the ship, of course, for fear of some other situation triggered by the events related to Mira. And they had a pending guest, a patron of sorts, Zoranthra, that evening anyway. But Wren was ever vigilant, looking out, and there was no more sign of the robed individuals. As we pick up the day after an evening with Zoranthra, in the morning, our intrepid crew is off. Oh wait, I apologize. I'm a little bit out of sorts. There was one more day in there, as the crew went off into the city to take care of a few things. There was one additional day. So it's now 2, maybe 3 days since Mira's endeavor. Mira and her sister 80, along with good friend Sisk, decide it may be time for some retail therapy. a trip into the city just to the three of them. Which, Ian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, suits Bren just fine.
Just don't max out the Amex. We still need to eat at the end of the day.
Something like that. And so, as that group of friends heads off into the city, I'm curious, Ian, you have the day. You feel some pressing issues, of course. And Wren has been bugging you a fair bit about whether or not you should do anything about these robed individuals. What is it that you want to do today?
I think first Bren watches the girl crew kind of go on their path, like he's standing at the edge of the boat, looking as they pass by any looky-loos that are still wanting to see what's going on with the airship, but making sure that at least they crest the line into the village before he kind of turns his attention. After he's comfortable with what he sees, he turns around and goes back into the middle of the airship looking for Wren. He's frustrated, and in similar cases that they've been in, he would be very sad, but that's covered up by frustration and anger, more so at himself, because he feels that entire situation with Mira was held so irresponsibly on his part. So as opposed to everyone who would normally see Bren with this very I'm just tired look, it's concern. It's a very strong concern as he kind of just stands on the airship thinking.
I think it's fairly easy, given Wren's very high perceptive abilities, to notice the captain on the deck of the ship, watching out as everyone disappears into the city. What would you like to do, Creep?
I think Wren gives him that moment of thought and solitude. This is something that great men need. Reflection. And after a bit of time, she's going to join him at his side on the deck, quietly sidling up to him, looking out to that same horizon.
I really need to figure out what to do next here, Wren.
Well, we could sit here and stare, or we could do something.
Just sitting here and staring feels like something.
Have you thought enough if you sat with your regret?
No, but I can't stay here. So we move.
But is that saying you can't cry over spilled milk? Nothing you can do about it now.
Yeah. So, you've been pestering me about these cloaked figures. Not really pestering, because that's all I've been thinking about as well. Did you find anything out?
No, there's strong magic that cloaks them. But we can return, we can look again together. Perhaps the two of us with our eyes together could discover something.
I'm afraid I won't be able to see anything. Or at least I should have seen something the other day. It's weird. It was almost like whatever it was called out to Mira. It happens too often.
You can't allow this to poison you, these thoughts.
If I don't, Wren, nothing will get done. They're just very young, and it's frustrating because they lost their mother. Their father's having to pick up the pieces back in whatever's left of what they call home. And here we are, in the middle of the continent, on a flying boat. If anything happens to either of them, it would just kind of cap everything off for me. Already lost one. I hope she's fine. Can't afford to lose the other two.
Well, then why don't we go find these bastards and make sure nothing else happens?
And do what, Wren? And do what? We kill them, we find out we killed the wrong people, then we have an entire town who's willing to just get rid of us and take this boat. What do you suggest?
Questions. We seek the truth. You instantly jump to killing. You know nothing of them.
I think I jumped to killing because it's the only thing that makes sense right now. I'm tired of my people being hurt, whether it's by words or magic or a blade or someone's idiot misbeliefs. People like this, they don't understand talk. They don't have time for questions.
You're so quickly to assume, to become the child yourself, Bren. What is that saying?
More
Assuming
milk?
makes an ass out of you and me? It doesn't hurt to go look. Doesn't hurt to ask a few questions. And if it comes to blades, then that is what it comes to. But you already said it, we have children to protect, and standing here on this boat and staring into an empty horizon is not doing anything for anyone, quite frankly. And you're really getting on my nerves with it.
You can stand on the other side of the ship. I'm going to take a moment to breathe for a second because I've been holding my breath for the past couple days. It's a fun trick I like to do, Wren.
I think she puts a hand on your shoulder, firm. Why don't you breathe?
He continues to stare out into the horizon, doesn't say anything.
She steps away. Lets him think.
Okay. Well,
as you're sitting there looking out at the horizon, Bren, you see figures in the distance walking towards the ship, just clearing the edges of the plateau that you have moored the ship on, coming from the city. You don't recognize the figures, but you recognize their shapes. More common folk. I believe recently these are people that Wren has obviously seen many times over every day, that Wren has offered to wing a few.
yeah.
To make sure they don't come back. But you see them once again in the distance. The girls and Sisk have disappeared into the city at this point. those onlookers, they just keep coming.
I think in this moment, Bren, he kind of looks around. He's looking for somebody. He's like, okay.
I think you look around and you see Lyra sitting, like not far off, just staring at you.
Bren looks at Lyra and goes, I mean, you're more than welcome to. I would prefer it. Nope. Could be fun. All right.
Lyra just yawns at you.
He goes to address them as best he can. He's like, hello. Hello.
So as you go to address them, you find Sisk has already set Tig out there to keep an eye on them.
I'm interested to see what Tig is doing in reference to this.
Just so you know, Creep, Tig is Sisk's mechanical companion, very, very large humanoid mechanical companion. And you're confusing, Raven. We're going back in time a day. Tig is basically sitting out there, just standing there, like has hands up towards them, can't talk to them, mind you. But every time they try and talk to Tig just like points at the sign that Sisk made. And like if one of them starts doing something that goes against the rules that Sisk laid out on the sign, Tig will like point at the specific rule on the sign for them. You're muted.
It's probably for a good reason. Bryn sees that and goes, you know what? Tig's got it. And then just walks to another side of the ship. I'm not gonna, I just can't today. Great.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that these onlookers have been wearing on Bren a bit.
Very much so. It's more guests than he's used to or he's ever had. And in the past couple months, he's gotten that tenfold, so he's tired for sure.
As you move over to the other side of the ship, Creep, you can't help but feel that whatever's been ongoing, there is something about it that still doesn't sit right with you. The robed figures had been hanging out at this rock crystal formation that is like a mile away from the ship for the entire day before the events of what happened with Mira. And you know very clearly, because you went and checked them out, that they were interested in the airship. It was several of them that had come and gone. They all seemed focused in the direction of the airship. You're not entirely sure how well they could see it from so far away, but you also know, given your own perceptive abilities, that such things aren't without merit. And now that that's been a couple of days, you've seen the pain going on with Mira. There's something telling you, some part of your gut instinct telling you that they've got some kind of an answer. Not to mention you're still kind of miffed that they got away when you gave chase.
I think she's just pacing aggressively where she is. If you were close enough, Bren, you would hear that incessant clicking of her boots against the hardwood as she paces back and forth, whispering to herself in frustration of these thoughts that are plaguing her. And she's trying to give you that space that you asked for right now. But I'd say she's also communicating to her bird, Lyra, to peck at you a bit. And you would see Lyra kind of like bouncing closer to you and like maybe turning her head and squawking, snapping her beak.
What? I don't have any food. What?
If you move your hand, it's going to try to bite at your fingers.
What are you doing? Hey, Red! Red! It's kind of like yelling for Red to go get this bird. I think with that, like Lyra is pushing Bren in the direction where they want him to go, and he sees Ren pacing. He's like, "What's going on with you? What are you doing?"
Speaking of what are you doing, though, thank you so much, Lord Gazumba and the Raiders. Welcome in, folks, to our special interlude adventure. Big shout out to Jay. Got to hang out with him for a bit at Gary Con. Did you run over anybody at Gary Con? Is that still... We're not legally allowed to talk about that, are we?
I think Tuck's got it a few times almost.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I hope you all stick around for our short little adventure that we're doing tonight. Proceed, my friends.
Are you pacing?
Are you done thinking?
Yeah, I am now. Lyra's gonna peck my brain out through my ears.
Can we go? Can we do something about this?
What do you want to do other than ask questions? What are you gonna ask?
She looks a bit lost when you ask her that. Like, she's been thinking so hard these past couple days about finding them that what she would actually do if she caught them is kind of like an afterthought at this point. That it's plagued her so much. They have to know something, Bren. Anything.
I'm sure they know a lot, but it's them telling us is the problem. Do you just want to go after them because they gave you the slip the first time, or do you really want to know what's going on?
It doesn't help that they gave me the slip. Let's be honest. But I do. I want to know. These are the people that we care about. We need to protect them. And right now, this is all we have to do so.
This is the first time that I've heard you say that, Ren.
What do you think I'm here for?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm very surprised that you're still here, especially after Violet left. I thought you wouldn't be too far behind.
Violet will return. In time. I have to stay here. You're like my tribe now.
It's a really fucked up tribe.
It's the one we got.
Wouldn't have it any other way. So we go find them. We ask the questions of what they know. And then what would you like to do? Because I have an idea.
I think it depends on how they answer the questions. I have a pretty good shot at people who are running.
I'm pretty good at getting people running.
Wow.
This should be fun.
Why don't you say we go on a little adventure? The girls are out shopping. I think we owe it to ourselves, right?
Have a little fun.
Good.
Let's do it. He cracks his neck. He's like, all right.
As you say that, Lyra flies up and perches on your shoulder, Creep, on Ren's shoulder.
Ren reaches up.
Seemingly tentative to go as well. You can feel as they like lift each claw and gently dig it into shoulder one at a time. You can tell that they're a little bit fidgety as well. But you also know Somebody also needs to stay here.
Wren reaches up and gives a scratch to her head. Not this time, old friend. I need someone to stay. Keep a lookout. There's too many have interests, and our friend should return soon enough.
Lyra, ever expressionless, you can feel her emotions, and you know that she understands, even if she laments having to do that. She just takes flight and flies up into the crow's nest of the mainmast, settles in. You know that she'll alert you if anything happens. As that's going on, Ian, Dove and family emerge from below decks. All three of them, Dove, Nora, and Taryn. They have changed clothes. They're seemingly a bit more well put together today. And you see them looking like they're about to leave the ship and head off into the city.
Hey, how you guys doing? Family trip?
Dove has a bit of a wry smile on his face as he's standing behind Nora. And Nora just looks at you with this dead set expression like, yep. And you're not going to do nothing about it, are you?
Wouldn't dream of it. Honestly, here, hold on. And then I think he goes, because for some reason that just felt real scary. He goes into like the chest where he has like a couple things of gold, and he's just like, here, have a really good meal on me.
As you hand her the pouch, she accepts it graciously and kind of turns to Dove. And there's this moment where you can see them having this silent conversation of like, see, I told you so. And she just leads the pair of them off. Taryn is just like jumping for joy, giddy, that he's finally getting to go off the ship and head into the city. And yeah, they head off. I'm sorry,
I think Red's still there too. Red real quick turns to Red and goes, there was no way that I was going to get in between whatever that was.
As that happens, the three of them heading off, you see Oriana step up onto the deck of the ship. And she too has a different dress on today. She dressed up a bit, actually, which is not something she normally does. And as she steps up onto the ship and she's looking around, she turns to you, Bren, and she says, where's 80?
She went into the city. Were they supposed to take you?
As you say that, even I don't care what amount of passive insight you have, it's enough to know that she is crestfallen as you say that. And she does the stiff upper lip sort of response. She like breathes in deep and just nods a bit and has a kind of forced half smile on her face. Oh, it's okay. I can stay on board the ship today. Phelan said that he needed some help with something anyway, and she just like turns and goes right back down below decks.
No. Hey.
She's just gone.
Oh, my heart, my real life heart hurts. Okay. I need to bring her back something. Okay.
You see Wren just standing there staring at you. Can we go?
Yes, please, before something else happens. I don't like to go now too.
You see Phelan come. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Phelan, you better not. You stay with me.
So, a pair of you head off towards the Crystal Rock Formation, as that's where your trail obviously is going to start. As you head in that direction, I would like for both of you to please roll perception checks for me. Also, during any of this, I need for you to make sure you tell me at any point if you are choosing to be stealthy at all.
That was a horrible roll for me. It was 13.
I got an 18.
That was a very bad roll.
Yeah, very bad.
Wren.
It was a 3 on the dice.
Yeah.
Don't forget, you guys have advantages. I think you're up to 5
You
each
know what?
now.
I'm going to use an advantage and re-roll that because it
Do
doesn't
it.
feel like a Wren roll.
Do it.
Oh, that's much better. That's 23.
Okay.
There we go.
That feels better. As the two of you are heading off, it's not really a forest between the airship and the rock formation, but there's trees, right? It's very just random, loose conglomeration of trees that are in that mile distance. And as you're going through, this is area that is very familiar to Wren at this point. This has been her scouting grounds, basically, for the entire time since you all landed. And Wren, you're able to sort of pick out that it feels like there's less animals here now. Less critters. The kind that stay in the trees, the kind that, have homes in the trees. You see more than your fair share of empty birds' nests that you hadn't quite noticed before as being out of place, but now, for some reason, they very much feel out of place.
And this area is this like a densely wooded area?
No, very light. Very light.
Okay.
You wouldn't see, in this type of an area, particularly given since the airship landed, you would not expect to see larger beasts like deer and wolves and things like that. But you had certainly seen quite a number of the smaller rodentia. And you're seeing less now. You don't know what that means yet. And I feel like that's something, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Wren would point that out to Bren, knowing Bren being a druid and all of that. And as that happens, Bren, you're able to spot it as well, and you can feel something is probably pushing them out. There's some instinct that would be pushing them out. Something that they're privy to that you're not. And that's probably unsettling, to say the least.
Very. I mean, not being able to kind of hear just the very small noises of animals or anything, especially in inhabited wood or what we thought was inhabited, is self-putting.
They're not entirely gone, but enough of them are gone to be noticeable.
It's a bit quieter.
Yeah. I'd like to. This feels kind of like a swing for the fences here, but I'd like to use detect magic. More specifically, so Bren's he's going to dig his hands into the earth, as deep as he can, and he's going to use detect magic to see if the vibes. What are the vibes?
Yeah, no, I got you. Absolutely. Mark off the spell slot and do me a favor and roll. I feel like this is the way you've worded it. It's going to be a nature check. But instead of using intelligence, I would like for you to use your spellcasting modifier of wisdom.
Ooh. Dirty 20.
Nice. With that dirty 20, Bren's hands dig into the dirt, and he uses his magic to vibe check the ground. And he looks around, and Wren can see the glazing over of Bren's eyes, the magical glow of Bren using magic. And as you look around, as you feel the earth in your fingers, you can feel something changing beneath the ground. Do me a favor and make a wisdom saving throw, please. This is not versus magic as well, just so you know.
Got it. Wisdom saving, yes?
Yes, wisdom saving throw.
It's going to be a 16.
Okay. 16 is enough to keep your wits about you as momentarily, this is like a fraction of a second that this happens. You keep your wits about you as your vision goes dark and all of a sudden is replaced by looking up at a night sky and seeing all three of Ysterra's moons cascading beside each other, one after another. Lunarin obscuring partially Lunaris, and then partially behind that Lunara, and all three of them coated in red. And just like that, you snap out of it, and you are looking at Wren.
That's a first.
You saw something.
I did. All three of the moons kind of almost eclipsing one another. And they were all red. Deep blood red. It's weird. I don't have visions like that. I don't really have visions.
I'm afraid that doesn't sound like a very good omen, especially with the quiet of the forest.
Both of you can make Arcana or History checks if you like.
Yeah.
Do Arcana.
And don't forget your advantages.
I will use an advantage. Perfect. 22.
I use one as well.
Awesome. Patrick, thank you so much, Canadian Ancient Gamer. Contributed some a little bit ago.
Hey, wow, I got a 19.
Speaking of which, Patrick just contributed some more.
Heyo, thanks, Patrick.
I'm going to start using these up.
Every roll, you guys need to be using these because these people are killing it. So that was a 19 from Creep, and then what was that from you, Ian?
22.
22. 22 is enough to know, and you guys are going to get different information here, so I'm assuming you're going to want to share it, so pay attention. 22 is enough to know that whatever that was not a result of the magic that Bren casted. That was something else, giving Bren that moment of insight. The meaning still eludes him, but it's enough for him to know another being gave him that fraction of a vision. The fact that he kept his clarity about him implies to him that it was not meant to be harmful. Wren remembers 3 bloodied moons in the sky. She was very young, barely her 20th year of existence when it happened. She also remembers particularly the turmoil that followed as so many people in the Imperium believed it was a bad omen, and there was witch hunts that took place as a result. Those that were deemed not safe for society, that normally were just shunned, were run out of town. One particular woman had to be saved from a mob, lest she be stoned to death.
Do I remember any events outside of the people scaring themselves happening?
No. Nothing
Okay.
bad happened. Wren is not particularly a religious sort,
Mm-hmm.
but it is worth mentioning that she would have remembered that the various religions in the region in which she grew up desperately tried to maintain order, but because none of them could offer an explanation for what it was, society and the more awful nature of society kind of took over, and even religion was not enough to stop it. But there wasn't any religious zealotry behind the events. It was just people. Scared people.
Bren, I think you would see Wren kind of slip away a moment, her eyes unfocusing ahead in thought before she snaps to. I remember being very young and seeing 3 bloodied moons. Nothing ever truly came of them in any kind of cosmic sense, but the people panicked. It was bad. Witch hunts of the Imperium. Things like that, astral events, can cause fear in man, and even if nothing truly will happen, they will create it themselves, like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
This is what ill-perceived bad omens, or was there actually some weight to it?
Didn't seem to be any real weight there, just silly minds of people fear and panic when they see 3 red moons. Sorry, I can't give you much more. It was a long time ago.
It's fine. I didn't get much either, but it felt more as like a warning than a threat.
Perhaps we have someone on our side. Are there any animals around that she can see, like anything at all?
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
Okay.
Advantage.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Just rolled a 1.
Oh, no.
I see what we're doing here, dice. It's a 27 on that second roll. Thanks for those advantages, guys.
Thanks, Patrick. And in honor of Patrick, I'm going to say with a 27, you very easily spot a small burrow right underneath the roots of a very large tree. And you see a little tiny furry face kind of poking at the edges of it, little nose sniffing furiously. You see a bunny rabbit.
I think first off, I'd like to cast Speak with Animals.
Done.
And Wren is going to kneel here before this burrow and very slowly hold her hand out with maybe a little piece of bread she's broken off from a pouch on her hip.
Sure.
Don't be afraid.
As you do that and say, don't be afraid, the rabbit's flopped ears, because rabbits tend to keep their ears back when they're being confronted, immediately perk up. As my hair goes crazy. Immediately perk up. And you see wide eyes go wider, and their nose just starts furiously sniffing back and forth even more rapidly. And they kind of hop forward a little bit and start sniffing at the hand. And they don't take the bread just yet. But you can tell that they're probably only about a year or so old. And your perception is certainly good enough to note that she has a bit of a cluster of other little tiny eyes that you can see in the darkness of the burrow behind her. And she just sniffs at you and says, "I'm not afraid."
Good. I don't want to hurt you. I only want to ask a few questions. It's very quiet here.
Yeah. Since you came.
Since we came?
And their eyes dart back and forth between the two of you, and then in the direction of the airship.
That's what scares the animals of these woods. The ship?
No. But the smell's changed.
How so?
Everything feels energized. And everything feels like it's about to burn.
Do you know of the crystalline structures that are nearby?
She just nods, and you can see in that way that rabbits will nervously start moving one paw over top of the other, kind of pulling them close to their chest. She starts doing that. She bends an ear and wipes the side of her face with her paw a bit nervously as she nods at you.
Have they always been here?
They've never smelled like fire before. Now they smell like fire.
The figures with robes, have you seen them too?
A few sunrise ago.
They're new. Do they smell different? Bad?
Gray Owl said to keep away.
It's probably for the better. She's gonna take a few more scraps of food from her pack and kind of sprinkle them on the ground in front of her. For you, and you're young.
Well, thanks.
Thank you. And she'll stand and
Can I
turn
ask
to
a
Bren.
question?
Oh, yeah.
We smelled some rabbit folk from the ship.
Do I know anything about this?
You would. The question is, will Ian describe what rabbit folk might exist on the ship at this moment?
Oh yeah, the trio. Bryn has a trio of Almirage that he took from his farm, Piper, Paige, and Prue. Those, they're like bunnies with little antlers on them. Like that's
unicorn
what they
horn.
are.
They're bunnies
Unicorn
with a
horn.
unicorn horn. Yeah.
And
they've been
that's
rooting around in the bottom of the ship this entire time as stowaways.
They're actually the reason why we have to keep repairing one side of the ship. Okay, yeah, but they're not going anywhere. Yeah, those are mine. Those are mine.
Does Wren know about these?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Lyra has kept tabs on them for her, but
Amazing.
they've been scared like this entire trip and like haven't come out from whatever little burrow den that they've created for themselves.
I believe Wren relays this to the rabbit.
They can come out. They'll be safe here.
I think she looks back at Bren, who I don't know if Bren has understood anything that's happening right now.
He knows that there's a conversation between.
Yeah.
and he's respecting it because he's like, I've been there. Do you think?
Yeah, she looks back at him and kind of assesses him for a moment and then back to the bunny. I feel as though he's quite protective of them. Maybe a visit we could arrange, possibly. No promises.
Is everything okay?
She does one of these.
Cool.
The rabbit just kind of nods a bit and says thanks.
Thank you.
And then starts scooping up the food and taking it back into her burrow. And just so you guys know, Patrick is insane. Just donating bit after bit after bit.
I saw that. I was like, man, we got to start rolling.
I have used every time. I will continue to use an advantage every time.
You can afford to.
I need to, because my dice rolls are
generous
poop.
donations. So yeah, the rabbit goes back inside, and as this, mottled brown with a touch of white on their belly rabbit fuzz goes back inside, you see another one, little tiny one, barely a month old, poke its little head out, all covered in white, beady red eyes, just kind of stare at you and sniffer going a bit before ducking back inside as well.
Oh.
She stands and turns to Bren. They were asking about your rabbits.
Oh, the Mirage 3. Yeah. They're around the boat somewhere. I always know they're around, but sneaky things.
It seemed like they would like a playmate, perhaps, but I told her that you were rather attached.
I don't know how they would be in a new area, but if they want to come on the boat, I'm fine with that.
I'm not so sure that they would be keen to this. Interestingly enough, it seems as though our arrival has changed things. She remarked that the air smells different, like fire, that the crystals smell different.
Do you think it's us, or do you think it's the magic of the airship?
Perhaps the magic of the ship? She said those crystals have always been here. Only upon our arrival have things changed. And our hooded friends seem to have only come as of recent.
Oh, jeez.
Ian, go ahead and make me an insight check, please.
And I'll do so I'll do so with an advantage. Okay, I like that better. Solid. That is a, hold on. 24.
You seem to recall when Mira had laid hands on the crystal, the unique smell of not just her burning, but also everything burning, as if the entire proximity of that crystal in that moment was on fire. And you can't help but put that connection together.
I think Bren wrestles with that idea for a bit, just a small bit, to whether or not it was the magic of the ship or just the magic that was coming out of Mira that woke it up, that gave it consciousness enough to see what's going on. And then he conveys that to Wren. He goes, I mean, it would make sense. It's not the first time. I mean, she's touched by an ascendant. Honestly, it's the only thing that saved her that night. I'm afraid that maybe she
awakened something.
That's what I'm thinking. But what is the problem? Not like what's the problem? What, comma, is the problem? You know what I mean?
The rabbit said that the hooded figures had been here for 3 moons, 3 days.
Coincides with the day after your arrival.
Okay.
So they just got here. Damn.
I think she relays that information to Bren for sure, that it's only been 3 days.
Yeah,
That's really
and I think
quick.
between the two of you, you'd be able to piece together your arrival, immediately followed by the hooded figure's arrival, immediately followed by the events with the crystal. Probably not you, per se, that has caused this change, but your arrival may have triggered other things dealing with these figures.
May have sped some things up, potentially.
Possibly.
So what, we destroy the stones? Be done with it? Leave?
No, I couldn't destroy something like that. It's been here for so long. Who knows what kind of magic you could release into the world by destroying those. If Mira simply touching them could create this, imagine what could happen.
I feel like this leaves us back at step 1, though, Wren.
We press on. And she doesn't wait for your answer. She just, starts trekking it.
You trek it
That's
fast.
all we're doing.
It takes hardly any time at all for you to reach the proximity of the crystal. And I think, given everything that has transpired, both of you, you're not quite sure if it's a conscious thing or a subconscious thing. But you smell ash as you get closer to the crystal. Go ahead and give me a survival check, please. Great.
All right. I'm going to just go ahead and use an advantage straight out the gate.
Do it.
All right. That's a 24.
Amazing. It takes virtually no time for you to pick up the trail. You had followed this portion of the trail before, but also you see a few new footprints. Not just Bren and Mira's, which are easy for you to spot, but you see a few others. Light boot, not heavy, not someone wearing armor, or at least if they're wearing armor, it's light enough that it doesn't weigh them down. Can't tell if it is exactly like the road figures that you had tracked before, but it's close. Kind of generic, though. So you can't give it 100% accuracy that. But it's enough for you to know that sometime, probably last night, figures came once again. And you also can't help but spot a handprint on the crystal. The charred flesh of Mira's hand still there. Still pungent. As if still burning.
I think a flash of irritation touches her features when she sees that handprint. The foolish child response ignited in her. And Bren would notice that she is like a hound dog when she finds those tracks. There is no speaking. There is this quiet determination as she begins to follow them in whatever direction they move from this place.
I think seeing that, like, Bryn can tell when something or someone is hunting. So he wild shapes into the Ysterra equivalent of a mastiff and just, like, provides Ren aid that way as they're tracking.
It's also very helpful to Ren, particularly because Ren has been moving slow for Bren's sake. Because Bren only has a walking speed of 30, and Ren has a walking speed of 45.
Fast as fuck.
I got bad
boy.
knees. I got bad knees. My back.
I think at this point, too, now that she has found these tracks, she is definitely going to go into a stealthier mode.
Sure.
Not knowing how quickly she could come up on whoever is on the other end of these.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is when she starts stealthing.
Go ahead and give me stealth checks, the both of you. You're muted, Ian.
I was mumbling incessantly. Okay, I thought I did. Okay.
I
know.
am the fucking shadows. I rolled a 32.
Oh, yeah. Is that a nat 20 then? Creep? Did you get a nat 20?
No. That is 1 point. No,
Nice.
that has to be. No, it's a 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you had plus 12 or 13. I knew it was fucking
13,
ridiculous.
yeah.
I'm guessing Ian, though.
I got a nat 20. Mark off another advantage. 21.
Oh yeah, mark an advantage for me. I definitely used one for that.
Nice. And you got a nat 20 for a total of?
21. It's just a mastiff drooling, but for some reason it's silent. But then he stops, and you just hear.
Nice. I will also remind you, Creep, for the next time that you want to be stealthy, Ren does know Pass Without Trace.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
But this time you don't got to worry about it, because Ren is the knight.
Bren is the knight, yes.
If it wasn't for the fact that Bren is a mastiff and can smell better than normal, he probably wouldn't know where Ren is, unless she willed it. And so the two of you head off following this trail. And the first thing that you note is that it winds. It's not straight. Wherever this person is going, they seem to be searching for something. Eventually, the trail meets up with another trail. Two of them that start wandering together. And then a third. And then a fourth. And you think a fifth, but it's hard to tell because they become less distinct, walking together and amongst each other and all of that. You think a fifth. It becomes pretty clear to Wren that they're searching for something. You don't really know what that is. You spend pretty much the entire day following the trails. As the suns begin to go a little bit further down the western horizon, you start to think you better turn back if you want to make it to the ship before sunset. But before you do, the two of you together piece together that the trails are heading into the hills to the east and a bit north. If you wanted to pick this up the next day, you could go a little bit more directly to them, you think. But for now, you need to turn back.
I think, still in wild shape form, I think Bren just kind of like nuzzles Ren's hand a little bit and looks at them, and then just like kind of turns around and starts walking the opposite direction.
She looks irritated, but also knows that following these in the dark is a fool's task, and reluctantly turns and follows Bren back to the ship.
As you all turn back, your moods, of course, have changed a little bit. Whatever moments of levity that you might have had earlier, everything is now feeling just more serious. Maybe it's the weight of that vision, the reminder of a childhood memory that was not pleasant. Seeing Mira's hand print upon the crystal. All of that feels heavy in your chests. But you make it back to the ship easily enough. Nothing harms you or anything of the sort. You make it back before sun's set. As you get back, Lyra gives a report to Wren about the ongoings of the day. She mentions pretty clearly an incident with a Dragonborn that had come to see the ship, and the people that were present not welcoming the Dragonborn. Wren is immediately reminded of the injustices of the Imperium. Bren, you spot down below decks. The girls have all returned, by the way. And you spot below decks Oriana sitting in a chair, reading a book. 80 sitting in a chair a few feet away, reading a book. And you can tell there's a bit of tension there between them. And there might be a moment of wanting to maybe address it, but then there's also a moment where you're like, you know what? I'm not getting in the middle of this one.
A little bit, I am, actually. Nothing too crazy. It's still Mastiff Bren comes down the steps to where the thing is, and he has like a bunch of flowers that he just ripped up from out of the ground on the way there, and he just lays them on Oriana's lap and then looks at 80 and then walks away.
Ori gives him a scritch of the ear.
Yeah. It just does this as he like prances by 80, just one of these like, well, you know what you did.
The irony is she doesn't know what she did. Maybe we'll find that out next episode. Regardless, Wren ends up having a fairly deep conversation with Sisk that evening. Bren checks on Mira. He's okay. Still can't help but feel Something's off. Still can't help but feel thankful for Little Bones and the Raiders. Welcome in, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. The two of you...
That's my son!
The two of you settle in for the evening. Wren, thankfully, doesn't need to sleep, but she still needs to do her elvish reverie. Bren passes out in his quarters, just full on. Bren snores, yeah?
Oh, sawing all types of logs.
crushing that wood cutting. Morning comes. Wren is, of course, awake before everyone else, as is usual. Prepares a little bit of breakfast. Is very quickly joined by Nora to assist after just before suns begin to rise. And everyone slowly starts coming about the day once again. Bren didn't sleep particularly well, so I think he's up early today. And as you all kind of settle into the morning routine that has become commonplace after spending almost 2 months at this point on board the ship, you are all interrupted by a scream, a blood-curdling scream of agony, one that Bren recognizes. Mira, somewhere below decks. 80 immediately bolts. Everyone starts heading down below decks in search, where you find Mira curled up on the floor in a fetal position of the engineering room, or of the engine room. Obviously racked with pain, Bren is reminded instantly of the nightmare of a few days prior. She's obviously suffering from it again. Nora, Dove, immediately go to work, trying to sort the hand. Phelan looks distraught, but is there, offering whatever stalwart support that they possibly can. Sisk seems a little bit beside themselves. Everyone doesn't know what to do. So Bren gives the order. The temple. They can figure out which temple they go to. He doesn't care, but enough is enough. Sisk, Nora, Dove, 80, all of them are responsible for getting Mira to the city, to the temple. You need to solve this now. You had hoped that Mira was on the mend, but that's obviously not the case. There's something more to this. And you feel like what you and Wren had searched for yesterday might be the only true answer.
I think in this moment, this is similar to when Bren was initially angry after we brought Mira back. Everyone on the ship can just hear loud thumping stomps as he moves from space to space, room to room, just gathering things, putting things in a bag. He's wrapping his hands for some reason, and he's not really shouting, but he is telling people to do things. This needs to get done. This needs to get done. You need to busy yourself with this. Oriana, are you okay? And then just kind of directing everyone else as he's walking to the top of the ship. Like he's ready to go. And once he gets to like past that point, he just shouts out for Wren. It's like, Wren! Like it's one of those like, we're mounting up.
She is up there waiting. itching to leave.
Do you remember how to get back to where we were yesterday?
Easy.
Beautiful. We are done playing around with whatever's going on here. So you and I are going to figure this out and then stop it.
I'm glad to see you've caught up. And she just like heads off right away.
Her usual style
no.
is to just walk off the side of the ship and just keep going.
He looks at that and goes, man, that's cool. And then I think he shouts out for Phelan after that.
Phelan's there. Everybody is like hauling Mira up. Tig has Mira in arms, and Phelan stops and looks at you, and you can see this expression on their face of like, what?
They will be fine. I need you to do something else for me. Anyone else who approaches this ship that does not belong on it needs to be sent home immediately. No questions, no stories, no insight. Do what you have to do outside of killing someone. And if they push you to the point to where you need to kill them, then that's on them. I trust your discernment.
You know I'm not the killing type, right?
Well, you better hope that nobody needs to get killed.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Thank you. And then I think he like tries to do what Wren just did, and he goes, I'm gonna take the stairs. And then goes and takes the stairs.
Phelan just nods. And you head off. The two of you move quickly, rapidly. What's the fastest animal that Bren can wild shape into?
I can wild shape into a mouse and sit in Wren's pocket as they go crazy. I'm gonna fern gully my way through this.
Sounds good to me. You catch up to Wren, thanks. Yes.
Are you gonna wild shape into a mouse?
Unless you have something else that's more fun.
And Lyra is with me this time.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
Lyra.
I'm highly entertained. I like give Lyra like a telling nod, and you're getting picked up by the bird.
Oh jeez.
Like,
but it's
full prey animal. It has got you in its grasp, and it's just like Wren is just thoroughly pleased with herself right now, watching you being like flown up into the sky.
It's a mouse version of just Brett going, ah! It's just tiny squeaks. Oh.
Awesome.
It's faster though.
It's much faster. Also, shout out to Andrew in the chat. Welcome in, my friend. Yes, your aunt and pseudo dad are off on an adventure. And shout out earlier to Canadian Ancient Game for tossing some subs.
Ayo.
Dude, so much tonight. So much.
Y'all out of control.
Very much out of control. So the pair of you, the trio of you, I guess I should say, including Lyra, head off towards the hills quickly. I'm curious, Creep, is this an opportunity at which Wren would also take advantage of her boots?
Yes, 100%. Mm-hmm. She wants to get to the point where they left off as fast as humanly possibly.
Nice. She moves faster than Lyra when she does this, but she knows that Lyra will catch up. And Bren has seen Wren move at great expediency before, but he has a bird's eye view of it this time.
I think you occasionally see Wren like look up and back and smirk and then just kind of like hunker down and dash even faster.
Lyra's tossing Bren in the air and then catching him again.
Oh, I'm quickly losing control of all of this. Anyway, you very quickly, within maybe an hour or less, somewhere around that amount of time, find your way back to the edges of the hills. Doesn't take a great deal of effort for you to locate the tracks again, but I do need for at least one of you to make a survival check. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Wren having the
person on the ground,
skill.
not the person being tortured by a bird. I'm gonna use an advantage on this. Just a triple check. I don't fuck it up. That's 24.
The tracks are easy enough to pick up. That wasn't what you were rolling the survival check for. What you were rolling the survival check for is, as you follow the tracks, every now and then you see portions of the natural foliage around you not normal.
Okay.
Enough so that you're aware and don't get too close. But when you do move past or around it, get within, say, 10, 20 feet of it, you see it shift with a subtle shadow. Whatever normal shadows that were being cast by the suns above moves in such a way as if it's almost alive.
Interesting.
You avoid it easily enough, but it is also a warning to you, instinctually. Something's not right in the shadows. Maybe it's time to go a little slower. A little more cautiously.
Seeing this, she's going to change her pace and begin more of a stalk.
What do you do with Lyra and her play toy?
I think, Bren, you realize that this is like some sort of like payback for making Wren wait so fucking long to do this in the first place.
Ratbread is passed out in the talons of Lyra. Just she can't scream anymore. I'm so tired. little rat vomit down his chest. He's struggling.
I think that as Wren is starting to slow her pace and hunker down, she kind of takes the hood of her cloak and holds it out like this and signals to Lyra to basically drop the mouse in her hood from a height that you're not going to get hurt from, but enough to maybe snap you back out and wake you up again.
Oh yeah. You wake up.
Honestly, what happens is I hit the hood, the rat bounces out, I get out of wild shape, and now I'm just standing there, just like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, you got a bit of vomit in your beard.
She pulls her water skin off and just is smiling, handing it to you.
In a couple of levels, he's going to be able to wild shape into flying animals, but I think it's going to be a PTSD sort of situation.
We haven't gotten there yet.
And then she
haven't gotten there yet.
And you see her like go back into her stalk and start moving forward. And she, at this point, will cast Pass Without a Trace.
Nice.
She knows that Bren's probably not going to be so stealthy right now, so.
Yeah.
No. I'm focused. I'm focused up. My feet are on the ground. I'm fine.
So, Ian, this is also magic that you're familiar with. Pass Without Trace is, both of your milieu. Mm-hmm. I would like for both of you to please roll an Arcana check for me. You're muted, Ian. Don't forget your advantage, Ian.
Yeah.
Again, I did use advantage, and I was muted because I was talking to myself again. That's an 18 for me.
What did you
With
get?
advantage, I got a 9.
Oh, well, I mean, there is a limit to Wren's awesomeness. And I feel like Arcana is definitely that thing that she just doesn't care about. Yeah. With an 18, well, let me describe what happens first. You summon forth the Pass Without Trace. Both of you can go ahead and roll stealth checks. You are going to get the +10 advantage, or bonus. But Pass Without Trace causes shadows to deepen. It causes a magical influx of shadow to change the luminosity of the area around you in a pretty big area. And you can feel it become darker than normal. You can see it almost visibly in the area around you, almost like tendrils of magic that flow in your vicinity, as opposed to just a general luminosity change. You actually see the shadows of this spell manifesting more powerfully than you expected it to. Bren, you would know that that is not a normal interaction of this spell. You would know that there is something in this area that is altering this shadowy magic. What'd you get on your stealth checks?
I got a 22 altogether.
With the +10?
With the +10.
Oh, I am back to being the knight. I got a 39.
Nice.
Look at me. I'm in.
What do you do as these shadows seem to deepen? Bear in mind, it's like not even noon yet. The suns are still very bright in the sky, and it feels to you like it's late afternoon, leading into evening.
I think I grabbed Wren's arm as the shadows expand and begin to deep, but like out of fear that they would consume Wren. Okay, that's not normal.
I would say not.
Does this mean that we should be a little bit wary of the magic we use?
Well, I regret to inform you that I do not know much about magic, so perhaps you're the more knowledgeable one for once here.
Then we are both in trouble. We'll play around with it. Okay.
The two of you, you pour some water into your beard. You get the rat vomit mostly out.
Mm-hmm.
The two of you begin your stealthy trek. Around the time that you expect your Pass Without Trace to need to be refreshed, you notice that the magic of it is not diminishing. You may not be proficient with understanding how magic works, but you understand enough for these gifts of yours, Wren. And you know the telltale signs when it's about to go down and when you need to be wary and potentially cast again. And it's not. It's staying.
I share this with Bren. Just kind of like I know I don't know much here, but I am an intuitive woman. I can feel when this is dissipating, and it's certainly not.
Can you just turn the switch off?
Can I?
You can drop it if you want to.
I'm not
The
sure
question
if that
is,
would
do you
be...
want to?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would be wise.
I mean, okay. So there's something that's enhancing the magic here. It's probably stones or the dirt or something. Okay, perfect.
How close to the crystal are we right now?
Oh, you're very far from the crystal at this point.
Oh, we are?
Miles
Okay.
away from it.
All right. We're closer to those hills.
You're in the hills now. You've been following the trails into the hills.
Okay. Perhaps there's an older magic here.
Or it's spreading. 'Cause I don't remember feeling like this or having this concern when we were here yesterday.
Oh. We keep pushing.
Yeah.
As you continue the trails, easy enough to follow, I need for you to make an insight check, please, Wren.
Hey, that's a 21.
The hairs on the back of your neck begin to stand up. Something doesn't feel right. You don't remember the people that you had followed before being this easy. Now, maybe they knew you were following them before, and that's why it's easier now, because they probably don't know you're following now. But there's still something not right about this. You start to get this gut instinct that they want you to come closer.
I think you see her kind of like the light bulb click on over her mind, over her head. It's too easy. It's like they want us to find them. Feels off.
It's a trap. This is a trap.
Feels like a trap. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Something tells me you still wouldn't want to turn back.
Do you?
No. Just needed to say it out loud.
I'm glad you got that off your chest. She keeps pushing forward. Now, the footprints that we're following, is there a way that we can kind of like veer off? Is there any kind of things that we can hide behind and come up around? Yeah,
absolutely. You don't want to be following on top of the tracks. You want to be off to the side from them, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as she has this like this moment of intuition strike her, she's gonna kind of lead her and Bren off to the side where she can just see these tracks, but also isn't like a big, red wagging like flag walking through this.
Well, I mean, you guys are pretty invisible, and so my question for you now is, as you do that, what have your instructions for Lyra been? Normally Lyra is fly overhead, keep an eye out, that sort of thing. Do you have any special instructions for Lyra?
What's the terrain look like here? What's the forest feel like here in terms of like...
It's only sparsely treed. This is a very, very dense hillside of rock and not a whole lot of foliage. There's enough for you to use as cover periodically, but the hills are just mostly dense rock and not the type that does well for growing trees.
I think that she would send Lyra off like a fork from them to fly the other direction and to kind of arc around that way, almost like a decoy, as though if they were expecting us to come with the bird, maybe they would think we were over there. It's a look over there moment. Yeah.
I need for you to look at Lyra's statistics and roll a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, he will.
For Lyra.
Oh, Lyra.
Yes.
Where?
So under your actions tab, you scroll down a bit, you should see your primal companion stats.
I'm assuming that is Beast of the Sky.
Yes. Lyra is a beast of the sky. Primal companion.
Yeah! That's a nat 20, so 25 total. Let's go,
Nice.
Lyra.
Nice. That means that Lyra is going to take half damage from the Disintegrate spell. So, let me just roll that real quick.
My burp. The way you say it with absolutely no emotion.
I'm gonna take half damage of the Disintegrate spell.
So that's 97 points of damage, reduced by half, which will be, what is that, 47 damage? Right?
Wow, that
No.
takes her out by
40.
3 points.
What was her max hit points?
44.
You see this bolt of shadow. If you were proficient in Arcana, I would be able to tell you that it is a Disintegrate spell that is modified by some type of other planar magic.
Mm-hmm.
And this dark beam of horrific energy flies up from on top of a hillside and slams into Lyra and just envelops her and keeps going. And Lyra is no more.
Knowing what she is, I think you see Wren close her eyes for a moment, and there's a look of, I think it would be unexpected, but a look of frustration on her eyes. Like, God, those motherfuckers. And then keeps pressing forward.
I was... Okay.
Yeah, Wren knows that she can resummon Lyra later as, a primal elemental entity. So I think it's 100% fitting that Wren is more miffed than, shocked.
Those bastards.
But I
can even hear her say, those fucking bastards, under her breath.
Ian, I don't think Bren knows what the extent of that relationship is. I think as far as Bren knows, he only knew Lyra to be a magical bird.
That's why he was like, But then he's also proficient in Arcana, and he's just like, a Disintegrate spell modified by something in the shadow. Like, he's freaking out a little bit. He's like,
proficient in Arcana?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't know that.
Wren's looking back like, shh.
There was a lot that just happened right there. Bird gone, crazy shadow magic, and he's like, what am I doing again? Like, how do I keep getting here?
As you move forward, Wren sees, because Wren has an insane passive perception, a figure emerge on top of the hillside from where that shadowy bolt came. Robed, staff in hand, staring up into the skies and looking around.
I think she puts her arm out for a minute to stop Bren and points up to this spot.
You see the figure. Figure looks directly in your direction, but does not seem to focus on you. Just part of their scan, of their looking for whoever might be with the bird.
How far are they from us at this point?
About 500, 600 feet or so. They seem satisfied. They don't seem to notice you. And they turn and start walking down the hillside away from you.
I assume we are going to tail this person, yes?
Of course.
Good.
You tail them easily enough. They seem to be satisfied with their job of making sure that nothing in the area is observing them or knows where they are. As you get closer, we'll say within a couple 100 feet, it seems reasonable that Wren would understand that she needs to be at least somewhat closer. I will give it to you, Ian, that Bren would be able to spot that the magic probably came from the staff that they wield. This gnarled stick that looks like it's been charred and burned several times over. And as they crest a hill, and very momentarily dip out of your sight, you move up the hill. Just beyond, you see another hillside. Except this hillside is different. This hillside looks as though a third of it has had some enormous beast with horrifically sized claws just dig into the side of it and tear out a whole section. You see some tracks on the ground, broken, mangled. You see a cart off to one side, reminiscent of a mine cart. And then in the shadows of this rended section of the hill, you see stonework. You see a doorway. And you cannot help but see the glowing red runes of magic carved all over the inside, buried deep within the shadows of this torn section. And you see the figure disappearing into the red and black doorway of whatever this convoluted mine shaft is. What do you do?
Okay, let's take a moment here. We're following, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just had to say that out loud too. I think there's a lot inside of Bren that's saying like, hey, probably not, but he's gonna go. Like I think he's gonna push a little past Wren on this one and kind of get very close, or as close as he can to the mine.
We
or what
only
looks like to be a mine.
see the one figure so far. Yeah.
You have only seen the one figure.
And how close are we at this point?
I will say that you are, from the mine shaft itself, you're like a few 100 feet.
Okay.
You would have to move a few 100 feet to get within the shadows of that torn section of the hillside that the mine shaft exists within. And let me be clear. The mine shaft itself looks like it probably at one time was a normal operating mine shaft. The whole rending of the hillside seems to have been done after the fact. It's too corrupted for it to have been something done by people that were trying to mine this appropriately. The arcane runes and such that are glowing on the inside of this torn out section of the hill look to have been added after the fact as well.
Okay. This may be a waste of time, but I want to see if I can take a moment to discern if these runes are keeping something in or trying to keep people like us or things out.
Give me an Arcana check.
Is my pass without a trace still up at this point?
It has not dropped. It's
Okay.
now in its 3rd hour.
Beautiful.
Oh. I'm going to do that with advantage, that Arcana.
You're using an advantage from chat?
Mhm.
Cool.
I am. 14 total.
Okay. You're fairly certain that he's actually down to 5 now, Varl, just FYI. You're fairly certain that the runes themselves are not there as abjuration. The kind that would protect something. Either protect it from within or protect it from out, right? You are fairly certain that this magic, just in looking at it, is designed to focus other magic. It is pulsing ever so lightly, almost like its mere existence is collecting power. And since you are also proficient in Arcana, I'm going to give you something else. You know that the airship is capable of doing what it does because it follows the ley lines of magic that exist in the world. You know that the reason that you landed in Atarak in Kuvalia is because that's where the ley lines sent you. You know that this area exists on top of a ley line. And while the roll wasn't great, I'll give it to you that you start to think that perhaps whatever these people are doing has something to do with that ley line.
With that information, would it be too much for me to discern that these runes on this mine is probably properly placed on a ley line to where these runes are pulling Arcana from that ley line that it's on top of?
Seems like a reasonable assumption, although you don't think that you think the mine might be coincidence, and these people are just exploiting that coincidence.
Yeah. That's yeah. Okay. So the question is what are they gathering this power for? Alrighty. How big is a single stone of the runes?
Size of your head?
I'd like to stop whatever's going on. Looks at Wren. Unless you got a better idea, I am going to do something.
What do you plan to do?
I would assume that you would need all runes for a complete spell to do its thing. I was thinking about destroying one.
Seems fair.
What do you think?
The figure we saw, he went into the mine and kind of disappeared inside of it.
You saw him disappear into the glowing mine shaft.
Yeah. Do you have an easy way of doing so?
Easy? No. Loud.
What do you propose?
We could trap them in there. Then I'll start blasting.
I do like this.
Just didn't know if you wanted to go in there and grab them first. Either way, I'm going to do that, what I just said.
Yeah. They have only one exit that we know of.
That we know of.
It's gonna create a nice little funnel for us, especially if you're out here hitting things they like.
Swat like flies.
Should we split?
Only if you won't miss me too much. Very nervous laughter out of Bren.
Turn into a little mouse again sometime. I'm gonna go that way.
Just throws up again. Okay, I'll go the opposite way.
Oh my god, that baby. And I'll start creating a distraction while you break their things.
Perfect.
She's gonna very quickly start like forking off and trying to get close to that hole to bum some dudes out.
So, so I understand this fully, you are heading for the entrance, and Bren is heading to do something to some runes?
Yeah, opposite side to blast some runes.
Okay. I probably didn't do a good enough job describing this. The runes are all surrounding the doorway that the figure disappeared into. That whole area is probably only 50 feet across. So you're both basically going to the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she's gonna go on to like one side and he's gonna go on the other side of this doorway, and she's gonna peer in and see if she can shoot anyone.
Gotcha.
And get people to start filing out while he's chipping on those runes.
Okay.
Maybe we can get like one dude out.
Sure.
Instead of like however the fuck many dudes are in there before it collapses.
What methodology are you using to destroy a rune, Ian?
Guiding bolt was my thought.
Okay. So do you wait for any kind of signal from Wren?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then Wren sneaks her way forward. The shadows are clinging to her in a way that she's not used to. It's significantly more powerful now. As soon as you step into this torn asunder section of the hillside, everything around her almost turns opaque. The magic of the Pass Without Trace exponentially increases. For numerical values, it's now at a plus 30.
Ho!
Oh, you are the knight.
He steps up to the entrance to the mine shaft. It is glowing inside of the shaft. The runes exist all down the shaft. Hundreds, thousands of these runes. And you see the shaft just snaking its way down. You don't see a figure.
Bullshit.
Wren looks down the shaft. You don't see anything. Jesus Christ, kid. You don't see any dangers. Do you let loose your bolt?
Honestly, no. In this moment, like after seeing that it's just not on the outside of the mine and that it's carved all the way down and it goes pretty far, Bren's confused now. Like he doesn't know what he could possibly do to help this outside of just going in.
I think you see Wren across from you. She had like knocked an arrow in her bow, fully ready to release as soon as she saw someone through the doorway. And when she doesn't, she looks just as confused as you, her bow kind of slowly slipping down and back at her side until her eyes trail over and she does one of these and then points down.
As you do that, as your focus shifts towards Bren, you hear a faint echoing sound, rhythmic, pitched, chanting perhaps, prayer maybe, coming from the shaft. Too many voices to discern accurately. But you know they're there.
Okay. You know what? Screw this. And Bren goes in the mine.
Okay. I'm assuming Wren follows quickly behind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's excited. Let's fucking go.
The two of you begin exploring down the mine shaft. There are a few offshoots here and there. You're only about a minute or two in, and you can easily see that most of the offshoots have collapsed. There's a few that maybe go 30, 40 feet in, but your dark vision tells you that they end. And as you continue down the main shaft, the chanting sound gets a bit louder until you turn a corner. And as you turn that corner, you see a very large open space in front of you. 7 figures, robed, standing in front of an almost perfectly circular pit in front of them. Swirling violet, blue, and red energies in that pit. Their chanting to Bren is very obviously prayer. To Wren, it's probably a bit too, well, for lack of a better term, evil to be that. Neither of you can really understand clearly just from observing. But you see the figures. And as you sit there and are watching for just a few seconds, both of you spot the tendrils at the edges of Wren's magic, the Pass Without Trace, beginning to get pulled towards the pit. The magic of the Pass Without Trace is unweaving. The tendrils of it darkening and becoming visible in the air as it snakes down the pathway towards the pit.
She drops it.
As you drop it, the burst of that arcane energy manifests and goes faster, flying through, around, and towards these figures, disappearing into the pit. All simultaneously, all 7 figures turn and look back at you. I need for you both to roll initiative, please.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Oops. Yeah, let's
so
go.
Don't forget, Creep. You have advantage. Oh, you got a nat 20? Great.
Yep.
So, what did you get, Bren?
14. Wait, hold on. Initiative 15.
All right. That's a 29 for Wren, I think, right?
Yes, 29.
On a nat 20? Excellent. All right. Yeah. Wren, you can immediately see these figures all turning towards you. One of them has the staff in hand. They're about 60 or 70 feet in front of you at this point.
That's good for them.
And just so you know, Kay just gave me a hail, which means that I have advantage on my next roll for some reason.
Gasp!
Thank you, Kay.
So I'm gonna knock an arrow and look to Bren and say, well, doesn't look like we're talking anytime soon. And I would like to mark this one that has the staff as my sworn enemy with my oath bow.
You do so.
And let's roll for a hit here.
You also just got 2 more advantages, and Bren got an advantage as well.
Shanks. I just rolled a 29 on my hit.
We out here.
That hits.
We are certainly out here. That is 23 total damage.
Amazing.
I believe I get 2 hits, 2 actions a turn.
2 attacks per attack action, yeah.
2 attacks, yep.
Yeah.
So we're just going to knock another arrow. Oh, crap. I can also cast
Hunter's Mark?
Hunter's Mark.
Yes, you can.
So I'm going to go ahead and do that on this guy as my bonus action.
Sure. And as the benevolent GM reminder? That I am, I will let you roll that bonus d6 from your previous attack, because I feel like Wren would have done that first.
Oh, yeah, she definitely would have. I just forgot. All right, let's see. So that's an additional 2 damage.
Okay. And what did you need me to remind you
of? What Hunter's Mark did.
Yeah, bonus d6 damage on all attacks against it from you.
Beautiful. Does a 17 hit?
17 does not hit.
I'm going to use an advantage and re-roll that.
Okay.
17 does not hit. Okay.
Nope.
Okay, well, that second one doesn't hit, and we just won't talk about that. And everyone's going to mind their own business.
So the first arrow flies through and hits the figure square in the chest. And as it hits in the chest, you can see clothing underneath. And they look up at you, their hood falls back, and you see an Earth Genasi figure. They look at you with a bit of surprise on their face, but not pain. The arrow is embedded in their chest, and they seem to not be fazed by it. The second arrow goes flying towards them, and they kind of just with a gesture wave their staff in its vicinity, and it turns to ash.
That's great.
Now, for what it's worth, I will say that you are behind, we'll call it half cover at this point. And that's the end of your turn, I do believe.
Mm-hmm.
Cat, don't step on my mic. Cat's trying to knock over.
Is it my turn?
No, it is not. It is their turn.
Crap, because I got a thing.
So on initiative 21, the figures all turning and looking towards you. The one that had the staff kind of looks back to the other figures and just gestures dismissively, and 6 of them turn and focus their attention back on the pit. The one with the staff looks at the 2 of you, holds their staff forward, and I need for both of you to please make dexterity saving throws. Creep, I would also like for you to make a perception check for me.
That's a 23 on my save.
Excellent.
19 on mine.
Not as excellent.
Oh, we're going to use an advantage on that perception check because I guess I just am going to roll a bunch of 1s tonight. It's a 28 on the perception.
28 is significant.
Yeah.
The first thing that you notice with that 28 is that this bolt of dark magic that is flying towards the 2 of you is different than what took out Lyra. But also you notice very easily that Bren is caught a little bit flat-footed by it, and though he's trying to dodge out of the way, he cannot.
With a 19?
That was a failure.
Damn. Okay, here we go.
The 23, however, is a success, but Creep, I'm going to give you a choice here.
Okay.
Because Wren is so very, very protective of these people, you can choose to use your reaction and push Bren out of the way.
I do this.
Oh, shit.
Bren is shoved out of the way as Wren stands more or less in front of where he was at. The bolt slams her in the back. You take only 38 points of necrotic damage.
Oh, okay.
But a force cage erupts around you. tendrils of shadowy magic clamp down on all sides of you. You see the almost like a spider web merge, blend between the bars of this cage. Wren inside of it. Bren on the opposite side of it. Bren is proficient in Arcana enough to know devastatingly potent magic when he sees it. But he also knows that there isn't anything that he can do to get Wren out of this.
Can she speak through this?
Yes.
I think her eyes are wide and she pleads to you, run, Bren, run.
Oh. Well, you know that's not gonna happen. Okay. It's
Ian,
still not my turn.
It is, in fact, your turn now.
Okay.
I need for you to make an insight check, please.
Sure. For sure. Oh, that's pretty good. It's a 23.
The force cage takes up virtually the entire space of this opening. You don't have anything that can break it. I'll tell you that now.
Uh-huh.
You can't get past it. You can't shoot through it.
Can you tell me, I have a question. With the force cage, does it like bury into the ground and surround it even though it's like on top of something, or are we saying like
It's
bottom of it kind of
essentially
cuts
a
off?
magic bubble around her.
Damn. Okay. The person, I know one of the people that we saw was an Earth Genasi. Did we see what type of person is holding the staff?
That's the Earth Genasi.
That's the Earth Genasi. How far away are they?
They're about 60 feet away from you, but there's a force cage in between.
Okay, there's a force cage in between. Is there a way that I can use my movement to get within 30 feet?
No. It is
nothing at all.
The passageway is blocked. You know in this moment. I'm sorry, go ahead, Creep.
Yeah, I think Wren reiterates, don't be a fool, run.
They're 60 feet away. Oh, shit.
Talk, Ian. Talk.
It's blocking my way. There's no way around it. Wait, there's no way around this?
No.
All right. I think in this moment, Bren looks at Wren and he has a very regretful look, and he's like, "We're gonna come back," and he takes off.
She stands there, her head held high.
Turn and look back. Wren turns and looks back at the robed figure. This Earth Genasi doesn't have malice in their face. There is no emotion actually at all. They just look at her, head tilted to the side, almost curious. And as Bren leaves the mine, leaves the hillside, transforming into some animal or other to try to get back as quickly as possible. That's where we end tonight's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this little interlude of an adventure. I hope it left you all with more questions than answers, because that was the intention. We will pick things back up next week, where we get to find out what's going on with Mira in the temple, and then what happens with Bren as he attempts to track them down.